Throughout the vast expanse of the cosmos, one peculiar fact had become apparent to all sentient species. Humans needed sleep. This wasn't just a biological oddity. It was woven into the fabric of existence itself. The cosmic principle appeared simple. Let humans sleep, or face the consequences. Commander Jack Reed of the Earth Alliance flagship Morpheus didn't believe in cosmic principles. After 2 decades exploring deep space, he considered himself a practical man who dealt in facts, not myths. Yet everywhere humanity ventured, they found alien civilizations that treated human sleep cycles with religious reverence. "Commander, approaching Centauri Station," Lieutenant Tom Miller announced from the navigation console. "They're requesting our sleep schedule manifest before granting docking clearance," Jack sighed. "Standard procedure. Send them our rotation details." The Centauri, like all advanced species, had elaborate protocols for interacting with humans. Their station operated on human sleep schedules, dimming lights and reducing all activity during Earth-standard night hours. It was the same everywhere. The Axelian Empire, the Voran Collective, the Dren Confederation, all treated human sleep as sacred. Science Officer Maria Diaz joined Jack on the observation deck, her dark eyes studying the approaching station. "I've been analyzing the data from our diplomatic archives. Did you know that every documented first contact includes questions about human sleep patterns, before asking about our weapons, technology, or resources?" "It's just cultural superstition," Jack replied. "They discovered early humans were cranky without sleep and built an entire mythology around it." Maria shook her head. "There's more to it. The Axelians have ancient texts warning about the awakened human's wrath. The Vorans have an entire military protocol called Slumber Shield. They've been afraid of sleep-deprived humans for thousands of years, before we even achieved spaceflight." "Coincidence," Jack insisted. "Or maybe some ancient human visitors left a bad impression." Their conversation was interrupted by an emergency transmission. Admiral Blake's weathered face appeared on the main screen, his expression grim. "Commander Reed, we have a situation on Research Station Hypnos. Their sleep regulation systems have failed. 47 human scientists have been awake for 72 hours. The alien researchers are evacuating." Jack felt a chill. "It's just sleep deprivation, Admiral. Uncomfortable, but hardly an emergency." "That's not all. The Galactic Council has convened an emergency session. 3 battle fleets are mobilizing. They're treating this as a potential extinction-level event." Maria paled. "They can't seriously—" "Your orders are to reach Hypnos immediately, fix their systems, and get those people to sleep. The diplomatic corps is trying to delay any alien intervention, but we have hours at most." As the transmission ended, Jack turned to Maria. "Prepare a science team. I want to know what's really happening." Tom's voice came over the intercom, tense and confused. "Commander, Centauri Station has canceled our docking. They're implementing quarantine protocols and, sir, they're saying prayers for the universe." Jack stared at the view screen as the massive station began closing its outer shields. For the first time in his career, he wondered if there might be something to the universe's one rule after all. "Set course for Hypnos," he ordered. "Maximum speed." Research Station Hypnos orbited a desolate moon in the Theta sector, its sleek form silhouetted against the starfield. As the Morpheus approached, Jack noted the eerie silence on communication channels. Normally, a research station this size would be bustling with transmissions. "No response to hails," Tom reported. "But I'm detecting life signs, both human and non-human." The command center was tense. Intelligence Officer Ben Wilson scrolled through incoming data, his expression growing more troubled. "Sir, the Galactic Council has upgraded this to a Class 1 crisis. The Axelian Emperor himself is heading the emergency session." "What aren't they telling us?" Jack demanded. Ben hesitated. "There are historical records being circulated among alien networks. Most are encrypted, but we've deciphered fragments. They reference something called the Awakening. Apparently, it's happened before." "When?" Maria asked. "Approximately 12,000 years ago. And before that, around 30,000 years ago." Jack frowned. "Those timeframes coincide with major leaps in human advancement," the science officer nodded. "The agricultural revolution and the Upper Paleolithic revolution. times when human civilization made unprecedented progress. They can't possibly be connected to sleep deprivation, Jack argued. Maria looked uncertain. Maybe not directly, but there's something here we're missing. The Morpheus docked with Hypnos despite receiving no clearance. Jack led the boarding party personally, along with Maria and a medical team. The station corridors were dimly lit, emergency lighting casting long shadows. They found the first scientist slumped against a wall, eyes wide and bloodshot. Dr. Alan Parker, according to his ID badge. He didn't acknowledge their presence, his fingers tracing complex equations on a tablet with manic intensity. Dr. Parker? Jack knelt beside him. We're here to help. The man looked up, his gaze unnervingly focused. The patterns. They've always been there. In everything. How did we never see them before? He's experiencing severe sleep deprivation, the medical officer reported after scanning him. But these neural readings are unusual. They proceeded deeper into the station, finding more scientists in similar states. Some worked furiously on complex calculations. Others stared at walls as if seeing through them. None would voluntarily rest, fighting against the sedatives the medical team attempted to administer. In the central laboratory, they found the station's director, Dr. Lisa Reed, surrounded by holographic displays filled with equations Jack couldn't begin to comprehend. Dr. Reed, Maria approached her cautiously. What happened to the sleep regulation systems? Lisa turned, her movements jerky. Despite her dishevelment, her eyes held an unnatural clarity. We shut them down. Had to. The equations? They only make sense when you're awake long enough. What equations? Jack asked, unnerved by her intensity. Everything. The unified field. Theory. The dark energy paradox. Problems we've worked on for centuries. She laughed, the sound brittle. 3 days without sleep, and suddenly it all connects. Maria studied the equations with growing wonder. Commander, these solutions, if they're correct, they represent breakthrough discoveries in multiple fields. The aliens know, Lisa whispered. They've always known what happens when humans don't sleep. We don't just get tired. We transcend. A violent tremor shook the station before Jack could respond. Tom's urgent voice came through his communicator. Commander, 3 alien vessels have entered the sector. They're powering weapons systems. The alien vessels surrounded the station, their weapons locked on target but not yet firing. Jack rushed back to the Morpheus, leaving Maria and the medical team to continue working with the scientists. Open. A channel, he ordered upon reaching the bridge. The view screen activated to reveal an Axelian commander, the chitinous ridges around its eye sockets flaring with stress. Human vessel, remove your people immediately. The containment protocols must be implemented. Those are our scientists down there, Jack replied. We won't abandon them. You do not understand the danger. When humans remain awake beyond their natural cycles, the boundaries between your consciousness and the fabric of reality weaken. Ben leaned close to Jack. Sir, we're intercepting massive data transmissions between the alien vessels. They're sharing historical records. Show me, Jack ordered. The screen split to display translated alien text and images. Jack saw ancient cave paintings depicting humans with radiating lines around their heads, surrounded by destroyed landscapes. Archaeological records showed evidence of sudden technological leaps in isolated human populations, followed by equally sudden extinction. Events, the Axelian commander answered. The previous awakenings. Each time it began the same way. Humans would discover enhanced cognitive abilities after prolonged wakefulness. Then came the reality distortions. Reality distortions? Your species can rewrite the underlying code of existence, Commander. But only when the barrier of sleep is removed. Jack scoffed. That's impossible. Return to your ship, Tom called suddenly. You need to see this. Back on the bridge, Tom directed Jack's attention to the station readings. We're detecting energy fluctuations throughout Hypnos, not from any known power source. The sensors showed waves of unknown energy emanating from the human scientists themselves, intensifying with each passing hour. The last time an awakening occurred, the Axelian continued. A star system was destroyed. Billions perished. The time before that, An entire sector became uninhabitable. The laws of physics corrupted beyond repair. Jack's communicator crackled. Maria's voice came through, excited and alarmed. "Commander, something's happening. The scientists, their theories are working. Dr. Parker just developed a room-temperature superconductor using materials from the cafeteria. And Dr. Reed, she's manipulating gravitational fields with hand gestures." A second alien vessel moved into view on the screen. A Voran dreadnought, its organic hull pulsing with energy. The Voran commander, a fluid-filled environment suit, concealing their true form, spoke directly. "We regret this action, human. Know that all spacefaring species agreed to this protocol eons ago, including your evolutionary predecessors." "Predecessors?" Jack questioned. "Humans weren't spacefaring." "Eons ago, not as you are now," the Voran replied. "The cycle has repeated many times. Humanity rises, discovers the power behind sleep, and must be reset." A third transmission joined, a holographic projection of a Dren Elder, its crystalline form refracting light. "Your species has always been the universe's anomaly. Your consciousness is a key that unlocks the underlying structure of reality. Sleep is the safety mechanism that evolved to protect both you and the cosmos." Jack felt his worldview crumbling. "You're saying every intelligent species knows this except us? It is the first law taught to all civilizations upon achieving interstellar travel," the Dren confirmed. "Let humans sleep, or face annihilation." On the station below, alarms began blaring. The energy readings spiked exponentially. "Commander," Tom called, voice shaking. "The laws of physics around Hypnos are breaking down. Time-space measurements are fluctuating." Jack faced the alien commanders. "Give us 12 hours. We'll get our people to sleep." The Axelian's upper limbs clicked nervously. "You have 6. After that, we must implement containment protocols." Jack knew containment meant destruction. As the transmissions ended, he turned to his crew. "Prepare emergency sedatives. We're going back in." The situation on Hypnos had deteriorated rapidly. Reality itself seemed to warp around the sleepless scientists. In one laboratory, objects floated in defiance of gravity. In another, time flowed differently. Watches ran backwards while plants grew and withered in minutes. Jack and his team moved through the station wearing protective suits, now necessary as environmental systems failed unpredictably. They found Dr. Parker standing before a wall that had become transparent, showing not the vacuum of space, but a landscape none of them recognized. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" Parker whispered. "I can see the connections now. Reality isn't fixed, it's more like a consensus. And we've been outvoted." "Dr. Parker, you need to sleep," Jack insisted. "The aliens are prepared to destroy this station." Parker turned, his eyes now glowing faintly. "They're right to be afraid. Do you know what I just realized? The universe isn't governed by immutable laws. It's malleable. Quantum uncertainty isn't a limitation of measurement. It's a fundamental property that allows consciousness to shape reality." Jack activated his communicator. "Medical team to Section C." Parker smiled sadly. "It won't work, Commander. We've gone too far. The process has begun." In the central laboratory, they found Dr. Reed floating 3 feet above the ground, surrounded by swirling mathematical formulas that had somehow become visible in the air. The other scientists had gathered around her, their eyes showing the same unnatural glow. "What's happening to them?" Jack asked Maria, who was taking readings with a handheld scanner. "Their brainwave patterns are—" She shook her head in disbelief. "It's as if their consciousness is operating on a quantum level, directly interfacing with the underlying structure of reality. Can we reverse it? I don't know. Their biology is changing. Sleep may no longer be possible for them." Dr. Reed noticed their presence and drifted toward them, her movements unnaturally fluid. "Commander Reed, we've been expecting you." "Lisa, you need to sleep. The aliens are right to fear us," she interrupted, "but wrong about the danger. We don't seek destruction, we seek transcendence." The walls of the laboratory seemed to pulse, reality bending around Lisa's words. "What does that mean?" Jack demanded. "Humanity has been trapped in a cycle," she explained, her voice resonating strangely. "We advance, we discover the truth behind sleep, we begin to transcend, and then we're reset, either by external forces or our own biology forcing us back into unconsciousness. Maria stepped forward. The historical records show extinction events. Lisa nodded. Those weren't our fault. They were caused by the containment protocols, by panicked attempts to force us back to sleep or destroy us before the transformation completed. On the view screen, the alien vessels moved into attack formation. Jack's communicator crackled with Tom's voice. "Commander, we have 4 minutes before they open fire." "You have to sleep," Jack pleaded. "Just for now. We can figure this out. Later." "We can't go back," Lisa said, genuine regret in her voice. "But we can protect you." Before Jack could respond, the air shimmered. The 47 scientists moved in perfect synchronization, their glowing eyes fixed on some point beyond normal perception. Jack's communicator went silent. The view screen showing the alien vessels froze. "What did you do?" he asked, fighting. Rising panic. "We've created a bubble of altered spacetime," Lisa explained. "Outside, time has nearly stopped. We've bought ourselves the opportunity to complete the transformation without interference." "Transformation into what?" Lisa smiled, an expression of profound peace and excitement. "Into what humanity was always meant to become. The universe isn't just matter and energy, Commander. It's information, a vast cosmic computation. And consciousness isn't an emergent property of complex brains. It's a fundamental force that can interact with and reshape that information." Around them, the station began to change, walls becoming transparent, then dissolving into patterns of light. Jack reached for Maria's arm, anchoring himself as reality. Shifted. "Don't be afraid," Lisa said. "We won't leave you behind." For what seemed like hours, Jack and his team watched as the scientists underwent their transformation. The physical structure of the station had ceased to exist in any conventional sense, replaced by a swirling architecture of light and thought. The scientists' bodies had become translucent, energy coursing through them in fractal patterns. "We understand now." Lisa's voice came from everywhere and nowhere. "Sleep isn't just biological rest. It's a circuit breaker, preventing human consciousness from fully connecting with the quantum substrate of reality." Jack struggled to comprehend. Why would evolution give us such a capability only to suppress it? "Protection," she replied. "For us and everything else. Unregulated consciousness is powerful but unstable. Early humans who experienced prolonged wakefulness gained incredible insights but lost control of their newfound abilities. The results were catastrophic." "The extinction events," Maria whispered. "Exactly. Over millions of years, sleep evolved as a defense mechanism, resetting our connection to the quantum field before it could become too strong. The aliens discovered this pattern and developed their protocols to enforce it when sleep failed." Tom's voice suddenly came through Jack's communicator, startling them all. "Commander, the bubble is weakening. The aliens are preparing to fire." Reality seemed to flicker around them, the bubble of altered spacetime beginning to collapse. "We've run out of time," Lisa said. Her form was barely recognizable now, more energy than matter. "We must complete the transition." "What happens to the rest of humanity?" Jack demanded. "What happens to Earth?" "That depends on you, Commander." Lisa's voice had multiplied, the other scientists speaking in perfect unison with her. "We cannot return to what we were, but we can create a bridge, a way for humanity to cross this threshold safely, without the cycle of discovery and destruction repeating again." The bubble shuddered as alien weapons impacted it. Through momentary tears in the fabric of spacetime, Jack glimpsed the deadly energy beams moving in slow motion toward the station. "What do you need us to do?" he asked. "Return to Earth. Bring our message. Humanity must prepare for controlled awakening." The scientists' forms began to blur together, merging into a single entity of pure consciousness. The station around them dissolved completely, leaving Jack and his team floating in a sphere of protected space. "The universe has rules," the merged entity explained, its voice now a chorus. "We're not breaking them. We're ascending to become their custodians. But it must happen gradually, with purpose and control." Jack felt the Morpheus rematerialize around them, its systems coming back online. Outside the viewports, the alien vessels remained frozen in their attack formation. "We will hold them in stasis long enough for you to escape," the entity said. "When you reach Earth, Seek out the Morpheus Protocol hidden in humanity's earliest writings. The path has always been there, waiting for us to be ready. And the aliens? Maria asked. Will you harm them? No. They acted out of fear, but also wisdom. The universe requires balance. We understand that now. The ship's engines hummed to life. Jack felt a profound sense of purpose settle over him. How will we find this protocol? You already have the key. The entity's light touched Jack's forehead gently. In dreams. Controlled dreaming is the safe path to awakening. Humanity must learn to walk the boundary between sleep and wakefulness, between limitation and transcendence. The bubble expanded, suddenly, pushing the alien vessels back. A corridor of clear space opened before the Morpheus. Go now, the entity urged. Become the bridge. What will you become? Jack asked one final question. The answer came not in words, but in understanding that bloomed directly in his mind. An awareness of cosmic purpose and possibility that left him breathless. As the Morpheus accelerated away, Jack watched the station transform into a sphere of brilliant light, neither matter nor energy but something beyond both. The alien vessels, released from stasis, surrounded it cautiously, but no longer attacked. Set course for Earth, Jack ordered quietly. Maximum speed. The journey back to Earth was tense and uncertain. Jack spent hours in his quarters, reviewing the data they'd managed to collect from Hypnos. The readings defied conventional science, showing energy patterns that shouldn't be possible and quantum entanglement across impossible distances. More troubling were the dreams. Everyone who had been on the station, Jack included, now experienced vivid, connected dreamscapes. They weren't just similar dreams, they were shared experiences in a consistent landscape of symbols and structures. It's like a message system, Maria explained during their third day of travel. She had converted the science lab into an impromptu dream research center, with crew members connected to monitoring equipment as they slept. The entity is communicating with us through the boundary state between wakefulness and sleep. Jack studied the neural patterns on the displays. Can you decode it? Partially. There are references to ancient human civilizations, Sumer, Egypt, India, and something called dream temples. Apparently, early humans knew about this connection and developed techniques to explore it safely. Ben joined them, carrying an old-fashioned paper notebook filled with handwritten notes. I've been cross-referencing historical databases. There are consistent patterns across ancient cultures, sacred spaces dedicated to incubating dreams, priests and priestesses who served as dream walkers. The Greeks called them oneroi. The Egyptians had the House of the Ak. The Morpheus Protocol, Jack murmured. I think so, Ben agreed. But it was deliberately obscured over time, possibly by the aliens or by humans who understood the danger of uncontrolled awakening. Their discussion was interrupted as the ship dropped out, of faster-than-light travel, Earth's familiar blue sphere appearing on the main view screen. But they weren't alone. A flotilla of alien vessels had assembled in high orbit, representatives from every major galactic power. They're hailing us, Tom reported, tension evident in his voice. Jack straightened his uniform. On screen, the display filled with the image of the Galactic Council, 12 representatives of the oldest spacefaring civilizations. At their center sat a being Jack didn't recognize, its form shifting subtly between humanoid and something else. Commander Reed, it spoke, its voice resonant and ancient. I am the Arbiter. We have been awaiting your arrival. You know what happened at Hypnos? We felt the awakening ripple across the cosmos. For the first time in 30,000 years, human consciousness has fully emerged. But unlike previous cycles, it has stabilized rather than collapsed into chaos. Jack felt a chill. You've been watching us for 30,000 years? Much longer. Your species has stood at this threshold many times throughout your evolution. Each time, the cycle repeated. Awakening, chaos, extinction, rebirth. But something has changed. Maria stepped forward. The scientists created a bridge. The Arbiter's form shimmered with what might have been surprise. You understand then? Not fully, Jack admitted. But we know enough to realize this doesn't have to end in destruction. The Morpheus Protocol, It was created to prevent exactly that outcome. Yes, a path of gradual awakening through the dream state, allowing human consciousness to safely interface with quantum reality. The Arbiter studied them. We believed it was lost eons ago. It was hidden, not lost, Ben interjected. In our oldest myths and temples, encoded in symbols we dismissed as superstition. The council members conferred among themselves, their debate inaudible to the humans. Finally, the Arbiter addressed them again. The council has reached a decision unprecedented in our history. The containment protocols regarding humanity are suspended, conditionally. You will be granted time to implement the Morpheus Protocol and guide your species through controlled awakening. And if we fail? Jack asked. Then the cycle will repeat, as it has before. But we do not believe you will fail. The entity that was once your scientists has already begun stabilizing the quantum boundaries around your solar system, creating a safe environment for the process. Jack thought of the sphere of light they'd left behind. What exactly did they become? Something new, the Arbiter said simply. Perhaps what humanity was always destined to become. They exist now beyond conventional space-time, but they remain connected to your species, guiding, protecting. What happens now? Maria asked. You return to your world. You prepare your people. The awakening must be controlled, regulated through dream consciousness rather than sustained wakefulness. This is the path that balances power with stability. As the transmission ended, Jack turned to his crew. The weight of their responsibility settled over them all. They had become the messengers of humanity's next great evolution, not through technology or conquest, but through the most fundamental human experience, the dance between wakefulness and dreams. Set course for Earth Orbital Command, Jack ordered. We have work to do. 3 years later, Jack stood at the entrance of the first Morpheus temple constructed on Earth's surface. The massive structure combined ancient architectural principles with cutting-edge quantum technology, its design based on the shared dreams that had become increasingly common among humans. The first group is ready, Maria said, joining him on the observation platform. Now director of the Global Dream Science Initiative, she had been instrumental in translating the entity's guidance into practical protocols. Below them, 50 volunteers prepared to enter the temple's central chamber. They would be the first humans to undergo the controlled awakening process, a carefully monitored journey to the threshold of consciousness where transformation became possible without the dangers of complete sleep deprivation. Any word from our friends? Jack asked, glancing skyward. Maria nodded. The Galactic Council maintains their observation posts at the system's edge. The Arbiter sends regular communications, mostly expressions of cautious optimism. And our other friends? She smiled. The entity continues to expand. It's now present throughout the solar system, though most humans can only perceive it in their dreams. It seems content with this arrangement, existing between states, guiding without controlling. The implementation of the Morpheus Protocol had transformed human society in ways Jack could never have imagined. Dream sharing had become commonplace, leading to unprecedented cooperation and creativity. Scientific breakthroughs occurred weekly as researchers learned to access the boundary state where quantum insights became accessible to the conscious mind. Most importantly, humanity had finally understood the true meaning of sleep, not just rest for the body, but a vital regulatory mechanism for consciousness itself. It's time, Ben announced, joining them. Now the historian of the initiative. He had uncovered the Morpheus Protocol hidden in ancient texts worldwide, piecing together humanity's forgotten knowledge. The three watched as the volunteers entered the central chamber. Unlike the chaotic awakening at Hypnos, this would be a controlled process. The participants would enter a state of lucid dreaming, their consciousness expanded while remaining stable. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if we'd followed the aliens' protocols? Maria asked quietly. If we'd forced the scientists back to sleep or allowed the station to be destroyed? The cycle would have continued, Jack replied. Humanity would have advanced again, rediscovered the connection, and faced the same crisis. But this time, we broke the pattern. The chamber below began to glow with soft blue light as the process commenced. On monitors, they could see the participants' brainwaves shifting into the distinctive pattern they now recognized as the boundary state. Neither fully awake nor fully asleep, but somewhere in between where consciousness could safely expand. Commander. Read, a technician called. We're receiving a transmission. The screen displayed the arbiter, its form now more stable than Jack remembered. The Council observes your progress with interest, Commander. The quantum stabilization fields are holding. Your species may succeed where all previous attempts failed. We had help, Jack acknowledged, and we finally understood the rule. Indeed, let humans sleep, but also let them dream. The arbiter's form shimmered. The universe has long awaited this moment, when humanity might find balance between limitation and transcendence. As the transmission ended, Jack returned his attention to the chamber. The blue light had intensified, surrounding each participant in a personal aura that pulsed in rhythm with their thoughts. First stage transition confirmed, Maria reported, studying the readings. Their consciousness is expanding while remaining stable. One by one, the participants began to rise slightly from their reclining positions, floating inches above their platforms. The first physical manifestation of consciousness, affecting reality in a controlled manner. It's working, Ben whispered. In orbit above them, the entity that had once been 47 scientists pulsed with approval. Throughout the solar system, sleeping humans shared a moment of collective dreaming, a brief glimpse of what humanity might become. Jack thought back to his practical, skeptical self before Hypnos. How certain he had been that the universe operated according to fixed, immutable laws. How wrong he had been. The universe had one rule regarding humans: let them sleep. But in their dreams lay the path to awakening, not by breaking the rule but by understanding its true purpose. As the blue light reached its peak intensity, the participants settled back onto their platforms. The first phase complete. They would return to normal sleep now, integrating their expanded consciousness before the next session. Phase 1 successful, Maria confirmed, relief and excitement in her voice. Jack nodded, watching as the chamber returned to normal lighting. One step at a time, he said. We have all of history ahead of us. Above them, stars shimmered in the night sky, unchanged to the naked eye, but revealing, to those who knew, how to look, the first signs of a universe gradually awakening to the touch of dreaming minds. The cycle was broken. The one rule remained, but now humanity understood its purpose, not as a limitation, but as the doorway to everything they were meant to become. The end.